for the state of the eye study, especially, we want to ensure that we're also looking at what these challenges are that are limiting our ability to properly represent the American people that we serve, right? Or the population of people living in the United States that we serve. Hello, everybody. Welcome to season 3 of the Visionuri Podcast. I am Dr. Juliette Nelson.
And I'm Karl.
Yes, and it's an exciting day because it is not only season 3, but it is our
anniversary.
Yes.
How many years has it been, Juliette?
It's been 3 years. It's been 3 years since we launched Nuri Lens, and that's so exciting. Actually, so the real story is that we actually went on pre-order October 1st in 2020. And then, of course, we officially launched on November 10th. And we have the insider story of how crazy it was launching and, preparing for launch and so on and so forth. But we are immensely, immensely grateful to everyone, again, who's been rocking with us, our first customers who purchased our frames, not really knowing much about us, not really knowing much about our brand, and everyone else who's joined on the bandwagon to support us, to encourage us, to refer customers to us, those who purchase multiple frames in one, purchase. We are so immensely grateful for you, and we definitely hope you'll continue to rock with us as we continue to learn, as we continue to evolve as a brand. So let's talk about what we've been working on for the past couple of months. Season 2 closed out.
We've been through a lot. It's crazy to think we already on season 3, but what have we been working on, Juliette?
Well, I will tell you this: we have been popping up again.
Yeah,
popping up. We actually were at Haitian Ladies Weekend, and this was my first experience at Haitian Ladies Network. Shout out to our outreach strategist, Rebecca, who represented Nuri Lens so very well at Haitian Ladies Weekend. It was a beautiful opportunity to really network and connect with Haitian women all across the country, also from around the world. So it was absolutely beautiful. I was supposed to actually travel out of town that weekend, and for whatever reason I wasn't able to travel, so I'm just getting notifications, ding ding ding, of course, us vending and sales coming in, and Rebecca messaging me saying, listen, I need more boxes and so on and so forth. So what was supposed to be just me showing up for 10 minutes really became me being there for 3 hours and connecting with some of the other vendors, connecting with amazing, beautiful Haitian women, and learning about themselves, learning about the work that they do, learning about their passions, their concerns. And I think it's just an amazing thing when Black women get together to empower one another, to encourage one another. So I'll say that was one of the highlights of last month in October. I will say Jimmy Jean Lewis, he is also an actor. He's a Haitian actor. And he also went to Haiti. And for those who are familiar with the situation in Haiti, he went to Haiti to visit the canal that's currently being built, but he wore his 1804 frame. So that was really cool to see him, wear those frames and to represent those. We also were at the New Jersey Women's Expo, and it was also great to be able to connect again with other women entrepreneurs, other women business owners, connect with people from different backgrounds, different styles, of course. to promote the brand there. So that was our month of October. And of course, gearing up for season 3, gearing up for year 3. I know that we are looking forward to some really exciting stuff that I think, drum roll please, or should I do it with my nails, that we're really, really excited to work on. And I'll let you talk about it, bro.
Yeah, of course. So year 3, we've talked about like trying to what new initiatives that we wanted to bring forward for year 3 and things of that nature. And I know like with the brand, obviously, we're very focused on like nice eyeglasses, the eyewear, the styles, the wood, the finishes. Not to say I don't care about that stuff, but you know, my bread and butter is really like eye health. So like I love eye health. So going into year 3, we were talking about what we could do, and we decided that we're going to be launching the State of the Eye, which will be a survey that's really near and dear to my heart. It's curated by me as well as some other members on the team, and it's going to be released to the public. It can be customers that have bought pairs of frames from us. It could be non-customers, it could be your friends, your aunts, your uncle. Just get it to as many people as possible. So
anybody in the United States older than 18 years old.
thank you. Yes, that's important. But yeah, so the whole background of the survey is we kind of want to get some insight on eye issues, we're going to ask questions about your eye health, your personal health, your background, your demographics, things of that nature, to try and build connections that people don't really understand and maybe not realize are there, right? So because what we found is, even through meeting people at pop-ups or in clinic, like you'll see a lot of people don't really recognize that like eye health and vision can be connected to so many other things as well, right?
Yeah.
So and I think that highly affects underserved, underrepresented communities. So that's kind of why we wanted to highlight that. But even if you don't fall into those categories, like fill out the survey. We want as much feedback as we can get, so that we can release some of our results, some of our findings in 2024. So we're really excited about that. When you see the survey come up, please do it. Please send it to as many people as possible. There also is a code at the end of the form for a discount. So I don't know if I was supposed to tell you that, but I'm saying it, so it's out. So State of the Eye, 2023, 2024, year 3.
Yes. And I really want us to kind of backtrack, especially since this is our season 3 and 3-year anniversary episode. Really take us back to like season 1, some of those small knickknacks that we started identifying. I know, of course, when you just come into the field, at the time I was working on my PhD in a completely different field. And so, of course, until you're really in it, sometimes you don't see the wide array of resources or information, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think one of our biggest thing was, okay, how do we ensure that we can fill prescriptions? And that was something that was especially important for me, because I wear prescriptions. I wear prescription glasses. And so, you know, we start getting these questions from customers, right? We start getting these concerns. We're seeing some of the different things that are missing the mark. And that's where we're kind of like, okay, so maybe we need to start pushing out some information about how to read your prescription. What's the difference between single vision and progressive, right? What's the difference between progressive and bifocals? And what are the different things that you find in your prescription, your sphere, your cylinder, your axis? You know, also, of course, the foundation as well of a lot of the stuff we do is the blue light blocking glasses. So that was another thing with, you know, why blue light blocking glasses, right? And so you have customers who didn't even know that that was a thing, but now we have to explain that to them. And I think leading up to year 3, we just continue to be, I mean, Karl and I have had out, like, I'm talking like full daily, weekend long planning sessions, and really being mind blown at the wide variety of things that really people don't know, our day-to-day people do not know. I think that's why this study is so important, really, for us to take more of an evidence-based approach, to understanding, you know, where the gaps are, right? We do know that there are not always enough resources or awareness in our community. So how do we really pour those into our communities? And Karl, I know we've had a wide array of conversations of even the cases that you've seen come into the eye doctor in your experience working as an ophthalmic tech.
Yeah, no, of course. Like even something as simple as like someone with diabetes, right? Like you'll see them come in and they'll be dealing with manifestations of like diabetic retinopathy where they're having issues with their retina. And it's like, hey, you had diabetes, you go get your HA1C checked all the time. You should probably also be going to see your eye doctor as well. And realistically, your primary doctor is probably like encouraging you to go, or maybe they are, maybe they aren't, who knows? But it's like the education part of it. Like if you don't know, or you don't think it's as important, you're not going to realize it before it's too late, and you're trying to deal with something that could have been prevented, right? So that's kind of something that we want to emphasize and want to gather information about, and kind of just inform the community. So
and we've already spoken, you know, we've spoken to future Dr. Rebecca Meerville, who even mentioned the lack of preventive care in our communities, right? And I think there's so much for us to understand about why why are we so far behind? We do understand that as underserved, underrepresented, marginalized communities especially, there is already that disadvantage. But what are those specific factors that are leading to that, right? And that helps us as Nui Lens to better understand what serving our community looks like, right? How do we build and increase that awareness? And second to that, you know, how do we increase representation in the field? And I've mentioned this before, I'm an industrial organizational psychologist. So a lot of the work that I do is looking at people in workplaces, right? What do we need to ensure that workplaces are conducive for professionals across various occupations? And I think working in Nuri Lens, having a number of eye health professionals on our team, one thing that is like till today, I'm not surprised, but I'm still astonished at what we found so far about representation of us in the eye health field. I mean, look back to when we went to Vision Expo. That frustrated the absolute mess out of me to see photos of Latino faces, Black faces, Asian faces. You have all these faces on billboards and posters, and then when you go around, you only find out that there's like 2 or 3 Black owned businesses, and they're literally like in the cut. You have to go on a journey, a pilgrimage, a scavenger hunt to find them, but they don't have as much visibility as other brands. And I think it speaks to the issue in the eye health, the eyewear industry, in the eye health profession, where we don't see us. And I think when you're talking about that customer experience, of course, you know, a doctor is a doctor, right? A sales professional is a sales professional. A specialist is a specialist, but there is something special about someone who is culturally informed, someone who has a shared lived experience as you. And something that I constantly do research on, especially when you're looking at data and demographics, is ensuring that your workforce represents the people that we're serving, right? And so for the state of the eye study, especially, we want to ensure that we're also looking at what these challenges are that are limiting our ability to properly represent the American people that we serve, right? Or the population of people living in the United States that we serve.
Even to that point, like I wanted to say, like even in terms of like medical equipment, you'll find these disparities, they show up. Like I was working on in collaboration with this PhD student who was working on a pupillometry tool, like a handheld pupillometry tool, right? And because our pupils, well, not our pupils, excuse me, our irises are so melanated, right? Like generally, like you'll see every now and then you'll see a brother with some green eyes, right? But generally speaking, right? We all have dark brown eyes, right? And
Right.
that pupillometry tool is using like a camera from your phone, a regular camera from your phone, and using that color differentiation to monitor the pupillometry. So that's a tool that works primarily for blue eyes, hazel eyes, green eyes, and it's like, okay, that's great that it works, but we got to make sure like we're finding solutions that can help everyone, right? And I think that's another point where I was like, wow, that's like, this is a great tool, and there it's marketed as like, oh, you can put this on your phone and it can help underserved communities, but it's not really going to help underserved communities if you're, you know what I'm saying? So to that extent, right, like we just want to make sure like we're building awareness, we're building representation, people can see themselves when they walk into the clinics, and they can find equipment and tools and resources that are catering to them. So,
and I think what you shared was so important because in this world of AI, right? ChatGPT and artificial intelligence, and we're trying to automate everything. Artificial intelligence and virtual reality and all of that, those are not new, right? These are things that have been here for some time. And I think one of the biggest challenges, to your point, is even the disparities, and even I would say the discrimination that occurs even in artificial intelligence, right? Where it can't pick up a black face, or it can't recognize someone with darker eyes, with brown eyes, or so on and so forth. And again, like with our study, we really want to ensure that we're capturing that data, because now we can have conversations with some of the people in the room to say, okay, here's what we're finding. Of course, there is data everywhere, and we're also finding that there are gaps where there's so much more for us to know. We are not monoliths, right? Even as Black Americans, we are not monoliths. Our parents were not born here, and that speaks to the immigrant experience coming from the Caribbean, and the immigrant experience coming from, for example, Africa or Asia or South America. They might be very similar, but they're not always going to be exactly the same. And I think when we're also considering some of those different aspects of people's lived experiences that impact their perceptions on their eye health, their access to resources, right? I think you and I, we are blessed and we're privileged to be able to have dental and vision insurance, right? While I'm an entrepreneur, I still have my full-time job, but there are people who don't have access to that healthcare for them to really be able to proactively get their eyes checked. And that can impact the delays in us being proactive about our eye health. So us really wanting to capture a wide range of things. Again, I mentioned the representation in the field. And this is something that a conversation that I had with one of our eye health professionals on the team, which was interesting because people don't always think that Black folks are well represented in the field. So I pulled up some statistics, which has me, again, not surprised, but still mind blown at the reality. And so this particular source pulled from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the Census Bureau, as well as current job openings. And we intend to also incorporate these sources in our study as well. But they found that for the field of optometry, we have 74.1 of optometrists who are women, and 25.9% of them are male. And then you have, for the ophthalmology field, right, you have 77.3% of those who are women and 22.7% of them who are men. The challenge here is we're finding that in the ophthalmology field, even though women dominate the field, right, they make 87% of what men make. And then in optometry, women make 86%. And then when we're looking at the demographics for ophthalmology, you have it being 62.2% white from this source, followed by 18.6% Asian, followed by 9.5% Hispanic or Latino, and then 5.1% Black.
Yeah.
When we move to optometry, we see that it's 72.9% white, followed by 17.1% Asian, followed by 5.2% Hispanic, and then 3% is unknown. So there's not even Black listed.
Wow, that's insane.
In the number.
Yeah.
And this is not an accurate representation
Mhm.
of our population, right?
Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
the population of Americans and non-Americans living in the
Yeah.
United States. And I think that's extremely alarming, because this is one of the most critical vessels on our bodies, but we
Yeah.
don't even have that representation of people to advocate for us in the field.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, I mean, we've talked about this before, but I think a large part of the issue is just like awareness of the opportunity and like educating like the youth, right? Like we've talked about this, like when you're in high school, like a lot of kids don't know the difference. Like, oh, if you want to be an eye doctor, okay, do you know what's the difference between an optometrist and a ophthalmologist? Like, you know, like
Right.
where you'd like to practice, because that has an effect on what you would be doing, what field, what specialties, and kind of just like giving you like a roadmap to kind of help you succeed in that field. So I think mentorship helps with that. I think it's unfortunate how low those numbers are, right? Like, especially for, you said the optometrist was unknown for the.
Yeah, it's 3%
That's
unknown.
crazy. Yeah. So
And I think the challenging thing for this is we don't know, like, you don't even have indigenous people.
yeah,
And
exactly.
there's so
Yeah.
many other groups of people that just
Yeah.
don't even exist in this data, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
when we say Asian, where do Middle Eastern people fall in this number?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so again, we are not a monolith, and there's so much more information for us to gather and for us to understand about, the people who are in the field, right? And seeing how we can, again, as you said, ensure that in school, of course, growing up as two Haitian kids, it's always doctor, lawyer, engineer,
Engineer, a
nurse,
little bit, nursing, yeah.
or a failure.
That's it.
That's it. Those are the options. A failure. You trying to be a physician? Do what?
Yeah.
Business for why?
Well, my
Right?
mom told me I could be the president, but that's
My
not.
dad told me the same thing. But who wants to be
Yeah.
the president of these United States? Not these.
That'd be.
Not these United States. Are
Yeah.
there other United States? Maybe.
We gotta find them. When you find them, let me know.
Right. But all to say, I think another challenge is, we're encouraging, of course, in our communities, oh, I want you to be a doctor. I want you to be this medical professional.
Mhm.
But what lane do I go into? Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's another challenge. We need to be able to really educate young people on the different avenues within the health field, right?
Yeah.
On the different lanes and paths they can take. One being, or some being, optometry, ophthalmology, opticianry, right? Or even just the eyewear business. We are grossly underrepresented across the board.
Yeah.
So all to say, this survey that we are hoping will become an annual thing, not only will it help us to understand how better to serve you, but also how to advocate for us, how to advocate for our right to have accessible eye health care, to be aware and to have proactive and preventive eye health care, and to also have our right to be represented, to exist, to have our stories shared and our experiences shared in the field. So
Yeah.
this is something that I'm extremely excited about.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, so now we're going to head over to our break. This was part 1 of our 2-part episode. We're trying to do something different this year, but we are going to break, and we will see you in 2 weeks for part 2 of our 30-year anniversary episode. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you again for hanging out with us at the Visionuri Podcast. We hope that you receive valuable insight that will encourage you to make better decisions about your eye health. Anything we've discussed in this episode should not be taken as medical advice. If you have any questions or concerns, please reach out to your doctor.
If you like what you've heard, feel free to subscribe to our channel or platform wherever you're tuning in. We'd love for you to chime in the comments or leave us a review with your feedback. Also, visit our website at www.nurilens.co for your next pair of frames.
We offer non-prescription and prescription options with different features to fit your style and vision needs. Use our try-on feature to ensure the perfect fit. Enjoy 20% off your purchase with the code Visionuri20 today.
Remember to see through the lens of your purpose. We look forward to chatting with you next time.